AON survey, which has covered 1,000 organizations, predicts that 2021 will be a better year, that you're going to see nearly 87% of the surveyed companies come out with an average salary hike of 7.3%. Let me go across to the CEO of AON India, Nitin, who's joining us right here on ET now. Good to have you on the channel. You're a harbinger of good news at a time when we've gotten used to only getting bad news, Nitin. But having said that, let's get down to the specifics. You're expecting, first of all, more companies to give out salary hikes than what your survey had shown up in 2020. But my big question to you is that the average salary hike that your survey throws up of 7.3%, are these actual increments genuine hikes, or is this more a case of restoring salary cuts, or actually just putting into effect the salary increments that had been announced for 2020 but then of course could never be come into effect?
No, thanks. Good to be here, Nantara. So the survey here has surveyed about close to 1,050 companies across 21 sectors. And what we do as part of this is ask companies a question in terms of what their actual pay increases were and what are projected pay increases as they're kind of going down and budgeting increases for next year. So the number of 7.3% that you see is the number that companies are budgeting as salary increases for 2021. Now, this does not mean this is not part of reinstating salaries or anything else. This is increases over and above what are today's salaries for employees across industries. Obviously, the number differs by sectors. In some sectors, it's lower. In some sectors, it is slightly higher than 7.3, and which is an account of economic performance of companies and other variables. But the average increase is 7.3% for 2021.
Okay, so this is genuine hikes, genuine increments, not restorations or just announcing what had been announced for the pandemic hit year. So that's good to hear. And I would imagine, Nitin, that this is going to be primarily the higher end, at least, of the increments will be for the digital world, because, that is what has done well during the lockdown, post-lockdown. So whether it's your IT, ITS, e-commerce, sectors like that.
That's right. So, you're bang on. There are some sectors which are giving out higher increases. So technology, outsourcing, startups, pharmaceutical companies, they're on the higher side of the spectrum. Their numbers range between 8 to 8.5% from that perspective. And the reason, especially, let's say, for startups is that for many of them, they were building businesses and, value would have come to those organizations as those businesses become mature and stable over a period of time. For many of the startup organizations, the future that was out there has gotten accelerated and is now visible to them right here and now. So in that context, whether it's about food delivery services, travel, ed tech organizations, and many others, as many of us have gone out and are now more of digital natives, I think their businesses have gotten accelerated. And for many of the others, they've also been agile enough to, remodel businesses to make them more relevant, more meaningful for their consumers, their customers. And that has led to a series of hiring, especially around deep tech, around sales organizations. And there is likelihood of higher increases as compared to the rest of the market in that particular space.
Nitin, I've got to ask you this one question. During the lockdown, it seemed as if the startup universe was living in some other world. Look at the kind of money that has been raised during the pandemic, the excitement and the enthusiasm you've seen in the startup universe. In fact, a lot of the salary cuts have been restored by the startups. I want to ask you that, did your survey look into that aspect at all, and what kind of trends have thrown up?
Yeah. So yes, absolutely. We did look at reinstating salaries. In fact, it's not just startups, Nantara. In fact, across sectors, many companies have reinstated salaries. And, one of the reasons for that is as companies have looked conserving cash, looking at employee costs, many of them companies are down to what they would call as lean organizations. And for this lean organization, as the growth window now starts opening up, companies want to ensure that they're doing the right things. And that applies more to the startup community than possibly anyone else. especially because all of them are on hiring modes. They're looking at building employer brand. They're growing faster than rest of the ecosystem in the market. And for right skills and hot skills, they're actually going out and hiring and are likely to give higher increases than the others. And to your point, many of them have raised capital because the investors and founders have realized that in many ways, the last 7, 8 months has actually helped these companies accelerate performance, or actually has made their businesses significantly more relevant in eyes of their consumers and their customers. We would continue to, I think, for 2021 and 2022, see higher increases in the startup space as compared to the others.
So I also then want to ask you this one question for the startup universe. The currency is ESOPs, and the whole trend always has been that you hire good talent and give them ESOPs, which acts, which also then makes them have a skin in the game, right? Has that trend continued, and is that how also the startups are continuing to dole out hikes?
Yeah. No, so this number looks at non-equity based compensation. So this is hike on fixed salaries. And that's what the number looks like. But you're absolutely right. I think equity compensation or stock options, as many call it, is an extremely important part of what the startup ecosystem is about. The idea is this businesses grow to create value over a period of time and realize that value. So equity remains an extremely important part of it. Both the investors as well as founders and especially leadership teams in startups, as businesses grow, would realize a significantly higher value out of equity compensation over a period of time. And you will actually see over the next 2 or 3 years many more startups getting listed out in India. The equity programs, would no more be paper money, would actually realize into hard currency in that sense. So equity would remain an extremely important part of overall compensation programs in the startup community.
Nitin, now even if I look at startups or even the traditional economy, the fact is that because of the lockdown, a large part of an employee's work life was from home, working from home, right? How has that impacted increments? How has that impacted compensation? How has that impacted bonuses? There must be some impact.
Yeah. So I would say a couple of things here. Has there been direct impact in terms of salaries being cut, reduced, or frozen because someone's working out of home? The answer is no. But would there be in future an impact of this on people working from home or work from anywhere, as it is now being called? The answer is yes. But it would apply in context of not the same talent. I think what companies would do is there would be different kinds of talent models that would come into place. There would be more of gig workforce that comes into play. There would be more of specialist talent that works with you on projects and other things that would come into play. Or lots of companies are now going back and saying, here is an opportunity to fix our diversity. Get more women in our workforce, people who've had to drop out, couldn't get back to work, or we were speaking to a client some time back and about getting retired armed forces folks to come and work for them, because work from anywhere or home enables all of that. So as those talent models kind of evolve over a period of time, there would be an impact on compensation. But would a company pay someone less only because they're working out of home? Unlikely, and neither have we heard that from any of our participating companies in the survey.
Okay, but has work from home changed compensation structure at all? Have you seen a change in the salary structure, and therefore that would also impact the bonus or the increment? Has that happened at least?
No, I wouldn't say salary structures have changed. What's happened is that as more people are working out of home, companies have provided for certain benefits like internet allowances. Companies have provided for setting up office at home and additional allowances at the moment. But no, structures haven't gotten changed because employees are working out of home. So neither have structures nor have bonuses been reduced or, yeah.
I want to ask you something else. I know we're not supposed to talk a lot about it, or it's never done completely on board, but the side hustle that's made work from home, it allows you more time for a side hustle, right? So are you also seeing a situation where because you're working from home, you may have to balance it out with your children's online classes, domestic chores, all of that? Have the number of hours gone down and therefore allowed somebody else to, carry on a side hustle? And has that part therefore impacted salary at all?
No, I don't think so. Obviously, I think as we speak to clients, what's happened is that the whole concept about since you're working out of home, whether it's about children's classes or many other priorities kind of come into play. And most people say that work, number of hours have increased that people are putting into work. And also over the last couple of months, in the early days, it was still a bit of a challenge. But as now companies have started seeing growth windows open up, I think most people in most organizations are working hard or harder than in I would say in the first couple of months to start putting out new strategies, new plans, build new products, or kind of evolve strategies as people get back to work in that context. So obviously, I think people are working harder. That's what we hear from all of our clients. But no, I wouldn't say side hustle has led to evolving or changing compensation plans.